Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Khan, also known as your Digester, and today we are going to continue with the series where we climb towards the Elite Division. As you can see, the squad remains the same, and our goal is to play both Division 8 and 7 and get ourselves to Division 6. In the meanwhile, we are going to identify the problems that the players make the most. Unlike the other videos, instead of analyzing a full match, we are going to concentrate ourselves on these specific mistakes and bring a solution to them. Let's get going. The players in both Division 8 and Division 7 suffered from defending the through balls and 1-2 passes. That means they have a problem of catching the player who is running into the open space. One particular reason for this is the same thing we encountered in the previous divisions, which is to force defenders out of their positions and push forward. This mistake creates huge gaps for the attackers, and it becomes really easy to create goal scoring opportunities. However, the second reason for it is the wrong defensive behavior. In most cases, players try to cut the passing lane. Even though this could work in some cases, it is mostly dangerous in open spaces. Let's take a look at an example. Here, the defender is trying to cut the passing lane from the ground. Even though he positions himself well, the attacker is running in behind the defensive line, so he could potentially receive a lifted ball. So standing passively on the passing lane and just trying to cut one opportunity won't be enough. Even though he was covering the passing lane, the pass went through anyway, and just because he was standing on a single point, he wasn't able to catch my player. In these types of situations, I use another method. While I try to cut the passing lane, I also get myself towards the point where the attacker can potentially receive the ball. So even if I fail to reclaim possession by cutting the pass, I may continue defending after his touch on the ball. And you have to realize some passes cannot be intercepted, but as long as you track the end point of the pass, you may position yourself correctly. We will see more examples just in a bit. The second big issue I identified during my journey in these both divisions was the player switching. Players either switched the wrong players, or they did the right switch but they were too late, or they used player switching so excessively that they lost control over their team. Player switching is one of the key mechanics in defense because if you can switch to the desired player at the right time, you can put pressure on the opposition team. To fully understand how the player switches work, you can check out our previous guides, which you can find down in the description below. Let's say you want to switch to a defender and make a defensive move, but then you do a wrong player switch, and instead of giving your desired player the defensive input, you give the same input to a wrongly selected player. So that player moves into the wrong area, and that creates an unnecessary gap for the opposition. This is why it is so important to understand how the player switches work, and you need to practice a lot to master it. We are going to analyze some examples, but before doing that, I just want to remind you that you should definitely take a look at our Guide Plus application, which you can download for free if you're looking forward to improve yourself in FIFA. In the Guide Plus, you can find in-depth tutorials, structured courses, and interactive quizzes on the topics you mostly struggle with. You can also track your progress while you always stay up to date since we bring fresh weekly content for all of our members. Download the app for free today and take your FIFA 22 experience one step forward. Let's analyze some examples of the first problem we identified, which is defending 1-2 passes and through balls. 1-2 passes can open up the game and bring an explosive pace to your build-up. In this example, my intention is to keep passing the ball towards the lower side of the pitch because there are two players who can get the ball and become dangerous. Just to distract my opponent, I send a 1-2 pass while holding onto the L1 button to make my passer cut inside so that the main focus remains on him. However, while the ball is traveling, I see that my opponent commits unnecessarily towards the passing lane even though he has no chance of getting the ball, and he doesn't stop his defender before switching to his other one. That makes his running center back completely go out of position, and my intention changes directly towards the opening, which is created by the opponent himself. Instead of doing that, he should stop his moving defender and at least cover the passing lane of the runner for a moment before switching to his other defender. I end up scoring the goal by using that space and passing the balls towards the open striker. On the other side, as I'm defending, my opponent goes for a counterattack. He has a perfect chance to play the ball towards the lower side, and in the meanwhile, I am trying to block the passing lane while also pressuring at the dribbler. However, one single overcommitment from my side will be enough for him to get past me and take the position towards my goal. As soon as I realize that he is passing the ball and there is no way I can cut off the pass, my first instinct is to stop my player and get him back towards the point where the runner is heading to. He can both receive the ball from the ground or air, so I need to run back as much as I can just to be safe. The opponent goes for the pass, and just because we were able to stop our player at the right time, we were able to cut off the 1-2 pass. With the through balls, it is essential to know that you have to give up on trying to cut the passing lane if the pass is already through. If that is the case, you have to see and accept it. Otherwise, just a little tiny move towards the pass itself will end up being a hard move on the other side of the ball's direction, and to be able to turn back around, you will need extra effort, which can also lead to unnecessary openings. In this example, as the opponent tries to drive down the wing, I quickly realize he has a striker who could potentially get behind the defensive line. I look for the potential passing lanes, and I think that I should block off the through ball lanes. I don't get directly towards the striker, because if I do so, I will lose my momentum and won't be able to run back. I don't run straight backwards, because if I do so, the striker can go deeper towards the other side and can receive the ball there without any problem, and I would also break the offside for him. Combining both of these angles, I find the perfect direction to go with, getting myself safely back and towards the potential endpoint of a through ball, nearing myself towards the running lane of the striker. That way I accomplish everything I need at once and block the through ball. One thing I need to point out is that I'm consistently pressing the R1 button, which is the second man pressure. This will force the closest AI player to chase the dribbler while I'm manually defending the potential through ball, and as soon as the danger is over, I can switch to the defender who was chasing the dribbler all the time. So that shows the importance of defending the area instead of pushing your player aggressively in order to cut the passing lane. As we mentioned, player switches are really important, and if you don't execute them in time, you will get yourself into trouble. You must do a player switch in time, otherwise if you're late, you won't be able to acquire the player. Here in this position, our opposition switches to a defender who fell behind, and most importantly, we have a running player ahead of us who can receive a through ball and go for the goal. Instead of switching to that defender, our opponent should have already switched to the last center back, who is the only one to stop that attack. As the switch comes late, it is too late to control them, and since the defender goes unbalanced, our striker gets a one-on-one with the keeper. The second mistake by player switching is obviously the wrong switch, which we had before. Here, as we can recognize from the movement of the defender, instead of switching to his right center back, the opponent was able to get the left one, but from his body language, we assumed that he wanted to take the right one, otherwise he would go for a diagonal run rather than a straight one. Because of this, he wasn't able to block the second pass in towards the winger, and the position ended up with a goal. Last but not least, excessive switching is also very dangerous, as you can lose control very easily. Every player switch should have a purpose, but once you try to push buttons randomly, you'll lose that purpose. Here is an example of me doing quick switching with purpose. The opposition passes the ball towards the wing, and just because my wingback is in a good position, I tend to block the potential passing lane and switch back to my center back. But as soon as I recognize he wouldn't go for it, I switch back to the wing back and press at the opponent. Now I am very close to the winger and I expect him to pass the ball again towards the lower side, so I switch once more again, but then he keeps running, which gives me the clear idea that I shouldn't switch anymore, and after chasing him, I get the ball back. We were able to beat all of the players in both divisions, and the next goal is Division 6. We are going to play our way towards Division 4 in the next video, so you can expect it to come very soon. So let me ask you, have you already played after the recent gameplay patch, and what do you think about the changes? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video so far, feel free to drop a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel not to miss any single FIFA content or the rest of these series. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Talk to you on the next one. Take care and peace.